Start,
Hello,
Miss Renu.
everyone. Good evening and happy to be here. This is Miss Renu from Genius Kids bringing you Born to Shine and listening to my very own song with Diljit Dosanjh, right? Play Mommy on Born to Shine. Thanks for doing that, Ira. Yes, I finally had the opportunity before the 60th birthday to actually perform and meet Diljit Dosanjh, the super amazing DD. Anyway, moving on, as you know, Born to Shine is a show where we spotlight all the young talent. And I talk about talent anyway from the ages of 5 to 25. And you believe it or not, we have kids out there doing just some amazing stuff. Every week, Miss Ira, my most favorite RJ. Hello, Miss Ira.
Hello, Miss Renu. How are you doing?
Very well. And myself are truly amazed at what these little munchkins are doing because I think at the age of 16, I was definitely not writing a book. I know what I was doing, and I'm going to talk about that on air. Right, Miss Ira?
Well, in all the shows that you brought, I've only been awed. I've literally been dumbstruck. Like, what are these kids doing at such young ages? And then, like I also mentioned before, right, it takes me back to what I was doing, and then I don't want to think about it.
I know. Well, most 16-year-olds at my age were checking out all the cute boys in school. That's what we were doing behind the screens, making sure our parents didn't see what we were doing. But anyway, today I'm bringing on another wonderful young lady who actually I brought on my show 2 years ago when I had Candid Conversations. And she amazed me at that time, and she continues to amaze me. And I follow her on Facebook, and I had to bring back Miss Riyani Patel. Hello, Miss Riyani.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I want you to come a little closer so I can hear you. Closer to the mic. How is Morgan Hill doing?
It's going good.
What's the weather like there today?
It was pretty sunny, but it can change throughout the time.
I know. I like Morgan Hill. I got one of my best Genius Kids campuses in Morgan Hill. So hello, Miss Kamal. Anyway, nice to have you back. So a lot of people don't know about, what you do in your book. So before we talk about these two books, I know you've done your second book. Let's first talk about a little bit about you. Tell me what you're currently doing, how old you are. Tell me a little bit about Riyani Patel.
Well, hi. If you didn't know me, my name is Riyani Patel. I am 16 years old, and I currently do online school at Ansabrado High School because of COVID times. And the current things that have been happening are I am working on doing research and working on my third book.
Listen to that, Miss Ira.
She's 15, 16, and she's working on a third book.
Yeah. So Riyani, I know you wrote this book about being bullied, right? It's about being bullied. But tell us what's the history or the background. Tell us why you wrote this book, because so many people get bullied about different things, but there was something in very particular about yourself, and this is your own personal journey. So let's talk about that.
Well, I want to be an inspiration to other kids and teenagers, especially cope with their bullying struggles. Sharing my own experiences through a storyline and characters that I have created. And it is a grateful feeling when people have reached out to me because I want to help others on their own bullying experiences, and hopefully I made a difference, letting them know not to waste their time on negative energy. And I actually have 3 main messages in the terrible bullies. And the first message is for the person that is being bullied. You should have the courage to stick up for yourself because you know that bullying is not right. For the person that is doing bullying, you should be aware that whatever you say or do is harming the other person, and that's not right. You don't know what they're going through. And the third message is the reason why the word terrible is in quotations is because at the end of the story, you'll find out why the bullies aren't so bad after all.
So why the people who are bullying are not so bad after all.
Wow. Okay.
So let's talk about you were bullied because of something in particular that you have. Let's explain that to our listeners. So tell everybody, what were you going through?
So actually, I was bullied in middle school because of my Tourette's. And what Tourette's is a neurological condition that involves motor and vocal tics. And for example, motor is where like you shake your head or like flap your arms or just move in a way that you can't control it. And
Hmm.
vocal tics, they are where you make weird sounds. And I was bullied in middle school because of that. Middle school was my like I absolutely didn't like middle school throughout the 2 years that I went there, because kids would bully me for what I had, which was Tourette's. They would make fun of me right behind or right in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
talk behind my back, and they would like nod, they not nod, but they would tell their friends like, oh, what is she doing, look at what she's doing, she's crazy. And I had no friends at that time because no one wanted to sit with me because I had Tourette's. And I would every day during brunch and lunch, I would eat lunch with my teacher in my math class.
Oh.
And I've always wanted to like go home every day because I couldn't take it anymore. It was that bad where I wanted to go home every day and just completely stop school.
So for those who've just joined us and you missed what was been said earlier, this is Riyani Patel. We're spotlighting her today on Born to Shine. She's an author of 2 books and she's getting ready to do her 3rd one. And she has written a books about being bullied because she suffered from Tourette syndrome, which is what she's explained. It's a neurological disorder of both you make random movements as well as when you make sounds. And she was bullied immensely, especially in middle school. So Riyani, my question is, when did you get Tourette's? Was it in middle school or did you start it earlier on when you were little?
I was diagnosed at the age of 7 by my pediatrician for when I got Tourette's. And I actually got tested because when I was like 7, my mom noticed that I would twitch my eyes, or mom and dad both noticed that I would twitch my eyes like
Mhm.
a lot,
Okay.
control it. And so my mom, like, she was wondering, like, is it just a habit, or why is she doing this? And so we went to my doctor and we told her all about this, and she said that I should get tested for tics slash Tourette's. And that's when we did test, and that's when I got Tourette's.
And you didn't get bullied in elementary school? Because I would have expected younger kids to make, to tease you more than older kids.
Well, I actually didn't get bullied in middle school because I believe in the 4th or 5th grade,
Uh-huh.
my teacher, she explained to the whole class on what I had, and it actually made me feel really comfortable because all of my classmates knew that I had Tourette's. And so they said that like it's okay if you tick in front of me. I know what you have now. I won't be bothered by it. And so I felt really glad.
So basically, your teacher educated everybody on the situation. So
Yes.
then, how come your middle school teacher
I know.
did not think that
See,
that was appropriate?
something similar should have happened in middle school
Yeah, why
also.
did your middle school
Right.
teacher not do that?
I don't know. I guess I was just too shy to share that, because if my middle school teacher shared to the whole class, you know how some could be serious about the situation, and I believe some wouldn't be serious about the situation. So
Wow. So
Okay.
anyway, so going to your first book, you wrote your first book when you were how old?
I wrote my first book, The Boy Battle, when I was 12 years old.
Why was it called The Boy Battle?
It was called The Boy Battle because there's these 2 young girls named Tanya Weeks and Diamond Pollock who fight for a boy that they like.
Mhm.
And at the end, it reveals which girl wins the boy after all.
Okay.
And you wrote that at 12?
Yes, I wrote that as
Okay.
well.
So how did
Okay.
you come up with the idea? Why?
So maybe we do start thinking about boys when we're about 12. Maybe I was off. Instead of 16. So, and what was that anything to do with Tourette's at all? Did you bring that up in the book at all?
Yes. So the book is about the young girl named Tanya Weeks who has Tourette syndrome,
Okay.
and he likes the middle school quarterback of football named Jake Bridges, but that mean girl, Diamond Pollock, gets in the way. And the
Okay.
reason why I wanted to write about Tourette's is because when I was 12 years old, I still had Tourette's, and not many people knew about what Tourette's is. And so I
Mhm.
wanted to raise awareness. So
And then you wrote your second book. Do you have the same characters in your second book, or do you have introduced new characters?
I have same characters and new characters in the second book.
Okay, wonderful. And what do you plan to do in your third book?
What I plan to do in my third book is write about 3 topics in one that are really important during these days, and that's the topic of football, vaping, and bulimia problems.
Mm, okay.
My question
So
is, Miss Renu, how did Riyani, how did you think about, putting your thought on paper? Why did you think about writing a book? If you were bullied, like when you were bullied, and mostly you would just probably shy away from everybody, and you don't want to be out there. You did
mhm.
exactly opposite. You went out and wrote down your story, made up a whole book about it, and presented it to people to raise awareness. So how did you even come up with that idea?
To write a book, well, it wasn't actually my idea, but my tutor named Mr. David Chappelle, he was the one who first helped me in math, but a few months later, he created a nonprofit called Literary Legacies, and it helps other students like me
Hmm.
write their own books and tell different stories. And I was actually his very first student. And so one day at home, he reached out to my parents and said, um, I started a nonprofit called Literary Legacies. It's about where children write books and their own stories, and I was wondering if like Riyani would love to participate, and I said yes because I thought that was really cool on writing
Yeah,
a book.
That is, that is.
great
It not
job.
only helps you with your creative writing skills, but it
Yes,
also helps you express your feelings. Yes.
Awesome.
right, yes.
So, Riani, where do you see yourself? I mean, you've started writing already books, which most kids will shy away from. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I mean, what do you aspire to be?
Well, in 5 years or 10 years from now, I hope that I hope that I made a difference in the world where would um people would understand. I hope to sell a lot of books, and my and may I share my wishes as well, and like
Of course, we want you to. We want to know all about you.
and some of my wishes are I would love to meet Vice President Kamala Harris and tell her about my books. I would love to be friends with an A-list celebrity and other influencers. I wish to have more followers on Instagram. And to the people that are seeing this, I would love your support if you could follow me if you could follow me on my Instagram handle at Riyani Patel 007. And I would love for more people to learn about what Tourette's is because, like in the movie Hitchkey, where Rani
Yes.
Mukherjee, she plays a teacher who has tics.
I was
Mhm,
just not
mhm.
thinking about that.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, and I love that movie. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic.
But Riyani, you already know Miss Renu, so your celebrity wala wish is already done.
I
She's
think
a
she was.
celebrity.
I think she was aiming at the ones who have about 5 million followers or more. Hey, Daljit Dosanjh, he's a
You
good.
you know Diljit Dosanjh, you've met him. Please don't be so
Yeah,
modest. You're a celebrity. Riyani, tick. It's
I
done.
think the wish list is very doable. And for those who are listening in, the least you can do is follow Riyani on Instagram. And you can't forget her Instagram handle. It's Riyani Patel 007.
007.
James Bond or what? So,
Amazing.
Riyani, tell me a little bit about, for those many people are listening into the show, because, bullying is not just something that kids do, adults do it as well.
Hmm.
And it's not just restricted to in-person bullying. Nowadays, people bully each other on social media. They troll you on social media, they bully you. It's just things have got out of hand. And especially this last year, I think during COVID, people have been sitting at home doing nothing. and kind of get carried away with their social
Emotions.
media. So tell me, Riyani, why do bullies become bullies? You mentioned that in your book, and we're definitely going to read it, but why did you say that bullies are not terrible people? Because for someone who's being bullied, especially on social media or in person, you feel like a little mouse and you want to like hide, and
Yeah.
your kids are scared to go to school. So why do you feel those bullies are not terrible people?
Because I feel like they because everyone makes mistakes, and in the book the bullies realize that they made a mistake and that they should do better in their life and in their situation.
So the bullies in the book eventually turn out to be good guys.
Yes.
And that's also a lesson for anybody who's a bully who probably does this. Just if you own up to your mistake, if you realize your mistake, you're not a bad person after all.
Yeah. And speaking of bullying, I would love to share a chapter in my book.
Yes, please.
Love to
Yes.
share a chapter called called The Bullying Starts.
Mm-hmm.
So may I read?
Of course, we would. What better than to have an author read her own book?
Okay. So Tanya arrives at school the next morning, and she sees Riku bullying other students. She walks out of her car immediately and nicely says, "Hey, please stop bullying other kids, Riku. It's not nice and you don't know what they are going through." Riku's facial expression turned to rolled eyes and raised eyebrows. He responds, "You can't tell me what to do, sweetheart." Tanya wears a disgusted look on her face and says, Okay, don't ever call me that again," and walks away with dignity. Tanya observes more bullying walking to her first period class. The bullies are Raphael and Adele. This time she catches the two pushing other kids, talking trash and laughing about it. When they realize that Tanya is looking at them, Raphael and Adele ask Tanya, "What, do you have a problem with us? If you do, say it to our face. We are not scared." Tanya has a mad look on her face and responds, "No, I don't have any problem with you. But what you are doing is wrong." She walks away fast so that they can't catch up to her. Tanya sees an incident that startles her no long after. It is Ivana and Carlos bullying Diamond. Ivana tells Diamond, "Just because you're a cheerleader doesn't mean that you're pretty. To be honest, you're kind of ugly." Carlos and Ivana start laughing and Carlos pulls Diamond's hair. Diamond starts crying and exclaims, "Please stop, please." Carlos and Ivana ignore her and they start laughing even more. Tanya yells, "Hey, do you think that's appropriate? Do you think that's kind?" Before Tanya can say one more thing, Ivana says, "Shut up." She pulls Tanya's hair before walking into class. Diamond looks shocked because Tanya defended her. Diamond says, "Thank you so much, Tanya. I didn't even expect this. I was just walking and they came up to me and talked trash. They treated me horribly." "Yeah, no problem." Tanya doesn't realize that the bell rang and she says, "I have to go. Bye, Diamond." Tanya speeds walks to her class and tries to make it on time. When she arrives to her class, Tanya receives a tardy and she has to stay for a few minutes in the classroom during brunch time when class is over. Tanya explains what happened to her English teacher, Mrs. Kathy Carter. During her tardy detention, Tanya explains what she witnessed, and her teacher is shocked because the school has a policy against bullying.
Okay. By the way, you read really well with lots of expression. I really enjoyed that.
You.
I really enjoyed that. So, so you talked about these, and I could relate to some of the stuff you were saying, because when I was a young kid, I was bullied when I was in boarding school a lot because I was from Kenya. I was actually the only Indian kid in school, and then I was from Kenya, so I was not aware of a lot of the British system, and so I got bullied a lot, and I ended up eating and eating and eating and gaining along a lot of weight. So I got even bullied even more. And I do remember from my own experience that when I went to my teacher said, "Oh, we have rules for against bullying," but then nothing was done beyond that. And I had to actually pull up the courage. What's your advice to kids who do get bullied and teachers are not stepping in?
I say if my advice to other kids are you should definitely stick up for yourself because you know you have the courage to stick up and stand up to yourself and not let anyone talk to you like that or let them treat you like that because treat everyone the way you want to be treated.
And do you feel that explaining, like if somebody has a condition like you have Tourette's or somebody has something else going on in their lives that people don't understand, because a lot of people don't know what Tourette's is. Do you think it's important to tell people what your condition is so that they understand or not?
Yes, it's definitely important to tell people about what Tourette's or anything is that you have
Mm-hmm.
because I would say that you would feel comfortable telling them rather than not telling them because for example um when I was in middle school I would take a lot and these students decided to like look at me and giggle a little bit, but I walked up to them and I said, hey, I'm sorry if I did that, just wanted to let you know I have like Tourette's, and I explained to them what
Mm-hmm.
Tourette's is, and they apologized after saying, we didn't know that you had that, so sorry, but now that we know, then like you're fine, you can take in front of us because we know that you have Tourette's anymore and we won't make fun of you, and I actually felt comfortable with that.
Right. So we have 3 more minutes, Riyani. I'm just sitting and listening to what you've gone through in middle school, and hats off to you, girlfriend. Hats off, because it's tough. Just being in middle school is not easy, and then going through that is really tough. And you've taken something and you've completely turned it around to educate people on it, which is phenomenal at your age. And I really, really wish you the very best of luck. So why don't you tell everyone where your books are available? You're a minor, so you can't give your contact out, but maybe you can give other information out, like your dad's or whatever, if people need to reach you.
Well, my books both of them could be available on Amazon and
Mhm.
also on mascotbooks.com's website because they're the one who actually published the second book through Washington or throughout of Washington DC.
Okay, so it's called Mascot Publishing?
Mascotbooks.com.
Mascotbooks.com. Okay, all right.
And you could check out my website, RiyaniPatel.com. My Facebook is Riyani Patel Author. And like I said on Instagram, Riyani Patel 007.
007. And what's your closing message to everyone? You have 1 minute to tell everyone what you really, really want them to all get from this Born to Shine 30-minute interview with you.
You have the courage. Remind yourself that, look in the mirror, remind yourself that you have the courage and you're brave.
That's so beautifully said, Riyani. So beautifully said. Yes.
Down.
And I'm you know what? Don't forget me. You're talking about your Instagram. You're going to get so many millions of followers. You'll forget who Renu is. So don't forget me, because I already have your first book already.
Forget you at all.
Yeah. And, kudos to your mom and dad. I do want to definitely mention them because I always believe behind every good author are a set of amazing parents. So
Yes.
Kudos to your mom and dad for always encouraging you, and for dad for always, I think he's one of your biggest fans. He's always pushing, your work. So that's wonderful. And
Yes.
thank you for being on our show. And Miss Ira, you have anything to say?
Well, I will just say that, Riyani, thank you for coming here, for coming
you
onto
for
the
having
show and sharing your story. I mean, it's very inspiring, and, what you went through and how you took that and changed it into this positive, results. It's amazing. So thank you. Thank you very much for doing this. And we wish you all the best on your third book.
Thank
Yes. And again, friends, her Instagram handle is Riyani Patel 007. Until next week, don't forget 007.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Miss
great
Renu.
week.
Thank you. Thanks to you also for doing this and for bringing such stories onto this platform. Kudos to you as well. And thank you, listeners and viewers, for being here. Signing off.